Hello and welcome back once again to movie reviews. So final movie for this evening. I was going to do one more, but I'm starting to get tired. I was actually starting to doze off at the end of this one, but I managed to keep myself awake until the end of it, mostly because I really had to use the bathroom and I was waiting for it to get over so I could go because I didn't want to miss... Because of course it hits me right as the climax of the movie's about to happen and everything's starting, the big final battle's happening, and I was like, no, I gotta wait, so... That was kind of keeping me awake, but at the same time, I was tired, so I'm going to skip the last one I was going to see and just do this one, and then I have another day off, I think 2 or 3 days from now, so I'll come back and play catch-up on that one, and yeah, hopefully by next couple of days off that I got, I can catch up with everything I wanted to see, and then I'll be back to my regular schedule of upcoming movies that I want to see, to where I only have to see a couple a week instead of trying to force multiples into one day. So final movie of the evening was The Equalizer. I don't know if this is supposed to be a reboot of the old Equalizer television show. I don't really remember too much about the old TV show to do comparisons on it. But so I'm going to rate this as its own standalone movie, I guess. Overall, it wasn't a bad movie. It didn't need to be 2.5 hours long, because it moved at a really slow pace, so a lot of it could have been trimmed to make it a 2-hour to hour-and-a-half movie. It didn't need to be 2.5 hours. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. But it was... They just needed to speed everything up. Like, I understand... They were taking their time in telling a story, but the story could have been told faster and still hit all the same points that it wanted to. Because, like, honestly, a lot of it was just... Almost 30 minutes of it was him doing the same routine daily, which I understand what they're trying to build up with that. You didn't need to spend 30 minutes on it. Move it along. It spends excessive amount of time developing the relationship between him and all these different characters, which I understand they're going to come into play later. Again, you didn't need to spend quite as much time. We spent like first portion of the movie, at his work, where he's becoming friendly with this guy who's trying to become a security guard at the store, and then that kind of gets put on hold at one point because now we got to develop the relationship between him and this girl at the diner. And then once that's done, then we cut back to the story with the security guard. And then we go back into the story with the girl. And then we just follow him going up against the Russian mob for the remainder of the movie until the very end. And then certain characters come back into play. And, it's just... It could have been a lot faster and still hit all the same points. I pretty much just gave you a rundown of how the film goes. Like I said, we start out learning his daily routine, where he works, whatnot, and he's just kind of living this boring life, and then you find out that he can't sleep, so he goes to this diner every night, and there's always this girl there that he talks to. Then we go back to work the next day, then back to the diner, back to work, back to the diner. And then we kind of find out who the girl is and what she's about and why she's involved with the Russian mob. Something happens, so he goes after them. And, of course, he wipes them all out. So then their big boss calls in someone to find out who he is or, like, who did it, because at first they think it's a rival gang or something. So they call in this specialist to figure out who it was and take him out. And then we're kind of following them around as they're trying to figure out who it is. But then we're back with him, back at his work. And then we find out that the one guy who he was trying to help become a security guard quit. So then he goes to find out why he quit. Then that leads into him getting into scuffle with these other guys, who later we find out, turns out they actually worked for the same Russian mob. Not sure why we had to make that big jump of a tie in. It could have just been like, hey, I saw corruption and I took care of it. Why does it have to tie back to the other thing that he just happened to be dealing with? So then the guy returns back to work, becomes security guard. Yeah, he actually gets the job, spoiler. Then, by that point, the Russian mob is caught up with who he is. And so, then it starts to escalate into the battle between them. It's a game of cat and mouse and battle of wits between him and the specialist about, who... Because they both kind of have similar mentalities as far as things go, know how things work, as far as the espionage or whatever you want to call it, the spy game. So they're kind of doing this little cat and mouse game back and forth. Like when they had their first shootout, they go back to his apartment because they know where he lives, and it shows him in the bathroom trying to tape up the bullet wound that he has from his encounter with them. And so he's sitting in the bathroom, they're coming into his apartment, and you hear the water running and the lights on in the bathroom. And so they start moving in on it, and, it's just like the oldest cliche in the book. It's like, as soon as they walked into his apartment, I was like, he's not there. It's like, so they go through the whole motions of it. Turns out, yep, he's not there. He just left the light on and the water running to trick you guys into thinking he was there. And, it's just... That part was really obvious. That was one thing that kind of irritated me. So then, the things kind of escalating with them. And then you find out why the other characters were introduced. This security guard character and all these people that he worked with. Okay, sorry about that. Apparently my battery died. I thought I had it fully charged, but I guess not. So I had to run back home, let it charge up for a few minutes, and then I was running back out. And figured I still had it with me, so might as well finish up this review, right? So where did we leave off? Oh yeah, so I was saying, if you follow movies like this, you know why the earlier character development is important, because eventually, of course, the bad guy is going to find out who his friends and loved ones are and take them hostage, which, again, spoilers, that's basically what happened. So he goes in to save the hostages, and that's when the big shootout happens. And then that's pretty much the end of the movie. After everything's wrapped up, of course, the good guy wins. Everybody's safe. The bad guys are all dead or taken to prison, whatever. He's walking down the street, back at his house, and the hooker who started the whole thing runs into him. She's like, hey, thanks for all your help, blah, 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 see you around. He gave her some money and a open-ended ticket, or she says it was left in her hospital room, but she knows it was him. So then he starts going back to the diner, and of course she's not there, so she actually took the money and ran. Like, she was probably a better idea to get away from the area, so she actually did a smart thing. But then instead of sitting in the diner reading his book, he still has his books there, but now he has a laptop, and it shows him reading an email where somebody's saying that they're in some type of trouble and it seems hopeless, and asking him if he can help, and he writes back, yes, I can, and then sends it, and that's basically the end of the movie. So yeah, like I said, not sure how this relates to the original TV series, if it's even based on it at all, or if it just uses the same name. It's been a long time since I even watched the old TV series, let alone remember anything about it. So yeah, that's basically the movie. As far as a star rating on this one, probably gonna go, like I said, it did drag out a lot. They could have paced it a lot better and got all the same points in and probably shaved 45 minutes off the movie. Brought it in at a nice hour-and-a-half runtime, maybe a 2-hour runtime instead of 2.5 hours, or like I said, it was like 2 hours and 10, or 2 hours and like 15 to 20 minutes, something like that. So based on the pacing alone, it brings the movie back down. Like I said, it had a lot of the same tropes that are in all these movies, the same stereotypical stuff. But overall, it was a decent film. I did enjoy it. I probably would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't starting to get tired and had to use the restroom so bad. But overall, it was a decent movie. So as far as a star rating, because of the pacing, I'm going to have to give it a 3. Basically, just kind of give it a middle of the road. Like I said, it's still a good movie. I still recommend it if you're into action movies. But it could have been paced a lot better. There's other movies that come out that do the same type of thing as this one, and the pacing's a lot better. Actually, if they wanted to fill out the 2.5-hour runtime, one thing they could have done was sped up the pacing and then actually showed all the fight scenes, because there was like 3 or 4 minor fight scenes that they didn't even show. Like in the preview, when the guy's robbing the Home Depot and he takes the girl's ring, and then the Equalizer goes and gets it back for her. They don't even show that thing happen. They show him the robbery. They show him pick up the hammer. He leaves the store. The next day she comes in. The security guard's like, "Hey, how you doing? If you need anything, let me know. Sorry, I wasn't there yesterday when you needed me." And she goes, "Oh, it's okay. I'm still a little shaken up or whatever, but, at least no one got hurt." So then she goes back out to the cash register, and then the ring's in the drawer, and then you see the Equalizer putting the hammer back on the shelf, which was all in the preview. That's exactly the way it plays out. They skip over him going to get it, the whole fight scene, everything. And there's like 2 or 3 other minor fights in the movie that are the same way. Like when he goes to confront the guy who's looking for him, the guy has a bodyguard with him who goes to use the bathroom. So when he sits down at the table, you figure it's going to be one of those, okay, well, he's only got a few minutes before the bodyguard comes back. But then he throws the bodyguard's sunglasses on the table and says he won't be back anytime soon. And they're like all broken and bloody. So obviously he took him out in the men's room. Why didn't they show that fight? You could have showed that quick fight and then eliminated a lot of the earlier drag, and it would have been a standard action movie. So, yeah, that's kind of why I'm giving it a middle of the road. Like I said, it is a decent film. I don't not like it. Wait, that's a double negative. So, yeah, I don't not like it. So, that means I do like it. But it had a lot of room for improvement. So, yeah, 3 it is, middle of the road. And that's finally it for this review. Sorry about the cut in the middle there. It's because I had the light on excessively on this one. Normally I turn it off, go see another movie, come back out. This time it's just been running. And it ended up dying on me. And I didn't have my spare with me for some reason. It was at home somewhere. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Got some more stuff coming up. Got some more movie reviews coming up in the next couple days after these. So be on the lookout for a lot more stuff throughout the rest of the month. But until then, as always, thanks for watching. And we'll see you on the next episode of Movie Reviews.